Okay, right now I'm feeling kind of anxious and like I feel this kind of fear in the pit of my stomach for some reason. And I don't know if it's just because I haven't really been speaking out loud. That's not true. I have been talking out loud. I think it's just like, just so much was unveiled this week, and I went through so many like drastic encounters that I'm just a little bit, I don't know, kind of shooken up. Like this whole week just felt really long and really, really tiring. And for some reason, I just am feeling a little bit nervous kind of talking in front of the camera right now. Maybe because of the encounters that I had and like these big changes and just like saying them out loud. And maybe unconsciously in the back of my head, I'm kind of nervous about, maybe it's because like I know I'm gonna post it. Is that it though? I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling like this because I mean if we're being we're not doing nothing but being honest. So I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me years from now when I'm watching this. And this is for me. But at the same time, I do make it public because I know that there are people out there who can get something from this because I think that this is good stuff. And I think the evolution that I'm having right now is not only important for me, but it can be important for somebody else who's going through their own evolution or wants to have that encounter or wants to have that evolution themselves. And so I guess I'm just a little bit nervous about this because of all of the things that surfaced this week. But I'm going to move forward anyway. So I want to talk about the main things that I got out of the chapters from Julia in week 5. And then I want to talk about the encounters that I had this week. So we were talking about limits in the first chapter. And we were talking about how we unconsciously put limits on what God can do in our lives. And I wrote down a couple of things from that chapter that I want to read. So I said, remember that God is your source. We are in the spiritual position to have an unlimited bank account. An unlimited bank account. You don't decide how powerful God is or put limits on what he can do in your life. Unconsciously, I have this idea of not only an idea of God, but an idea of how he's going to show up in my life, how he's going to bless me, and what he's going to do. These are my own created ideas and limitations really on what he can do, not knowing that he's far more powerful than my comprehension, and the things that I couldn't possibly imagine will probably happen. But we come up with these beliefs and these limits on what God can do in our lives. And then when something else is happening, we're just kind of like, oh my God, whatever, like whatever. Moving on. I wrote down working slowly and gradually, clearing negative patterns, clarifying your vision for what you want, and accepting God's gifts can make your creations come to life. Working slowly and gradually, clearing negative patterns, negative things that you've been doing your whole life. And in order to clear those negative patterns, you have to identify those negative patterns, which is something that we'll talk about because I definitely identified a lot of negative patterns. Clarifying your vision for what you want, getting really clear about what it is that you want, and accepting God's gifts when they show up in your life. Accepting them. I feel like I have done it. I think other people in the world do it where like God will show up in your life, and because either you don't feel like you deserve it, you won't accept it, or because you're afraid of what may follow after it, you don't accept it. And I think the only way that we're going to be able to push through to the next part in our lives, the only way I'm going to be able to get to where it is that God wants me to go and continue on my path is if I take my damn time, I clear out negative patterns, I get clear about what it is that I want, and I accept the gifts when he gives them to me. And I keep it pushing. And this leads me into like one of the encounters that I had this week, but I'll take my time with that. So I wrote down this quote that Julia has. She said, pray to catch the bus and then run as fast as you can. And that's real shit. And I wrote down, We must come to recognize that God is an unlimited supply and that everyone has access. God does not run out of blessings. Someone else receiving a gift from God is not one taken away from you, and I want to apply this and practice this in my daily life. Thank you. Receiving God's good is an act of worship, and cooperating with God's plan will manifest goodness in your life. God has lots of money. God has lots of song ideas, lyrics, strategies, acting jobs, lovers, friends, houses, etc. that is available to me. And by listening to the Creator within, I will be led to the right path. And on this path, I will find meaningful work. And that was huge for me, especially recognizing that God is an unlimited supply. There is no limitations. There is an unlimited supply of creative energy in me. There is an unlimited supply of opportunities around me and jobs and lyrics and ideas and visions, and really accepting that is a huge change, because I think that in the beginning of my weeks, I was talking about how one of my fears and creative blocks, a negative self-belief that I had, was that I would be a one-hit wonder, or I could only write one really good song or make one really good album. And that's because I'm limiting my beliefs not on myself, but on my source. If I am a product of the greatest artist of all time, which is God, if I am a product of the original creator and he has an unlimited supply of creative energy, that means that I have access to an unlimited supply of creative energy. I have an unlimited supply of lyrics and songs and visions and jobs and money and houses, and I have access to that unlimited supply. And just really accepting that and really tapping into it and really practicing it has shifted my whole mode and how I want to move forward. Now, with that being said, I also came to the realization that if I have access to it, and if I am a product of the greatest artist of all time, and he created everybody on this planet, everybody has that same access. Everybody has access to this source. So somebody else getting an opportunity or a blessing from God is not one taken away from me. And I can't move forward in my life if I continue to have this scarcity mindset and look at everybody else around me who's getting opportunities and feel like some have been taken away from me. Like there can only be one person to be on top. There can only be one person to do this or one. I have the same access that they have too. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to really move forward and be okay if I'm constantly feeling like things are being taken away from me because they're being given to other people. So that's something that I have always understood, but I seriously need to practice it, because I find myself, my inner child is always like kind of pouting like, well, why can't I? And I know that I'm just as talented and so, and why can't I get this? And why don't I have that? And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Cut it. Cut it. Focused on the wrong thing. Now, knowing that information, we were talking about dependence on the creator. And this was game changing for me. Again, information that I knew, but when it was really broken down and I really took time to think about it and accept it, it really did wonders for me. I wrote down, we were talking about finding the river. Dependence on the creator within is really freedom from all other dependencies. The creator within is God. Like I said, I have access to an unlimited supply. Okay? God is the highest form of creative energy because he is the original creator and he created us. Meaning that I only need to depend on God within me, the creator within me, and I will have freedom from all other dependencies. I don't have to depend on other people. I don't have to depend on other opportunities or other places or drugs or drinking or anything else. I don't have to depend on anything else except for the source within. And I mean, just to go off on a tangent really quick, I used to think that I could only like make something really great if I was smoking. And that was an example of me depending on having to get high in order to make something good. And I don't need to depend on that. The only thing I need to depend on is the creator within and the creator above. And dependency on the creator within allows us to truly be intimate with other human beings, because you're freed from your terrible fear of abandonment. We are freed from our obsessive need of reassurance from human source. Now I'm going to kind of read that again because I feel like it's going to go over your head, and I think it might have gone over mine too. Dependence on the creator within allows us to truly be intimate with other human beings, because you're freed from your fear of abandonment. Meaning, if I am depending on the creator within, I'm allowed to now be really intimate with other human beings, really honest with other human beings, and connect with them really, because I'm not depending on them to accept me. I'm not depending on them to be proud of me. I'm simply being as I am. And I feel like a lot of people, because we were talking about this in the book, about people who they're being good because they want to be perceived as good, and they're not being authentic. Take that as you will. But anyway, I want to eliminate the fear of being abandoned. And how you eliminate the fear of being abandoned is depending on the creator within. And knowing that the creator within is the source of... All right. Anyway, you'll be freed from your obsessive need and reassurance from human source. And that's a goal of mine for sure. And I feel like over time... Oh, my laptop's about to die. Over time, and I just noticed over the years, like that has definitely been happening for me. Now, we are learning to give up idolatry, the worshipful dependency on any person, place, or thing. Instead, we place our dependency on the source itself. This source meets our needs through people, places, and things. I don't have to do anything but connect and align myself with the creator within, and everything else will follow, and that's period. Then we were talking about the virtue map. I don't remember this chapter that much, but I did write down some key things. She said an artist must have downtime to do nothing. For an artist, withdrawal is necessary. We need the upkeep of creative solitude. Afraid to appear selfish, we lose ourselves. That is something that I have not struggled with. She was talking about how sometimes blocked artists basically are afraid to take solitude because they're afraid to appear selfish. They're afraid to, just to appear selfish. I don't care about that because I'm not self-destructive. And when I say I'm not self-destructive, I mean like I'm not going to neglect myself just so I can appear a certain way to someone else. I'm not going to neglect myself and my solitude because I want to appear good or not selfish to someone else. How I appear to you is how I appear to you, and that's just what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that I'm okay. I'm going to make sure that I have my solitude. I'm going to establish boundaries in my relationships. And anyone who doesn't understand that, that's fine. I have the understanding and I know what I need. So I don't have that issue. I didn't take too many notes on that chapter because it really didn't apply to me. So yeah, that was that. Now, with that information and what I kind of learned this week, I had some encounters. I had this encounter where I was talking with Yin, and basically I surfaced some ways. I surfaced some negative patterns about myself, and it's so much. Like I just feel like it's so many words and so many things. But basically, like I realized that. Let's talk about how I work, right? Like how I work in my career, as an example. I'm realizing that I'm at a place in my life where I have to change the way that I work, the way that I communicate, the tactics that I use for productivity. I have to change some patterns about myself in order to get to the next level. I have been in the same place because I am doing the same things. I have established the same pattern. Now, the pattern and habits and behaviors that I used when I was in high school worked for me at that time, and they got me good results. But I have moved on to a different place and I have matured. Therefore, my behaviors have to change. My habits have to change. My patterns have to change in order for me to see different results. So, with that being said, one example that I have is that I want to clear this negative pattern that I don't work well with other people. Ever since I was young, I didn't like group projects. I didn't like working with other people because they weren't working how I wanted them to work. And not only were they not working how I wanted them to work, I believe that how I was working was the best way to work. And in order for us to win, we should be doing it my way. So I would take over the projects. And then after I took over the projects and did my idea because I felt like they were the best, I felt like if y'all want to win, just rock with me. Okay? If y'all want to win, just rock with me. Not if y'all want to be a part of it. I was never like team player. I was just like, me. My ideas, the way I work, this is how we're going to do it. Boom. And I hated working with other people. Business relationships. I've never had a long-term successful business relationship with another person. It's never worked out. And I always had this it's them, not me attitude. And I realized that it's not them, it is me. And for a long time, I have been an ineffective leader. I have leadership qualities. I have potential to be a good leader. And I see that I have this, natural influence about me and natural, it's like instinctual in me for me to lead, but that doesn't make me an effective leader. And I realized that I've been like this, and a negative pattern that I have is that I have a belief that the way that I work is the best way to work. So when people aren't working the way I work, I think that they're being ineffective. I think that you're not doing the right thing because the way that I'm working is the best way to work. And when they're not working how I'm working, then I don't want to work with them. And I had to realize that not only, Jayla, the way that you work is not necessarily the best way. And then also, it's not the only way. The way that I work and I work towards my goals and the way that I hustle and the energy that I put in is not the only way that you can do it. There are multiple ways to win, not just my way. And I know that may sound, I don't give a fuck how it sounds, but that was a huge thing to unveil for me. Your way is not the only way that it can get done, which means that I can now allow myself to try different ways, to try different patterns and different methods of productivity and different behaviors to go about it. There's not just one way to get somewhere. Okay? And I don't have to eliminate great people in my life or say I can't work with other people because they're not doing it my fucking way. And I feel like it's not them, it is me. And in order for me to be an effective fucking human and not even just a leader, just an effective team player to work with other people, I have to eliminate this entitled, egotistical, selfish approach to how I work in order for me to open up to different things. Because if we're being honest, the way that I've been working the past couple of years, I mean, sure, it's comfortable for me, and it's like, it feels good, and the way that I work, oh fuck, hold on. The point that I'm trying to make is that the way that I'm working now, I don't think that is going to be the thing that takes me to where I need to go. And I have to open myself up to different things. And I'm in a position right now where I really can't do it alone. I need to work with other people. I need to learn how to work with other people. I need to learn how to listen. And so I want to clear this negative pattern of me not being able to work with other people and work well in relationships. I want to clear this scarcity thinking that I have. I want to eliminate this limiting belief that there are no, I want to just broaden my thinking. Like, there's not just one way. There's multiple ways that it can get done. And I cannot do what I'm trying to do by myself. But I will always end up by myself if I don't let other people in and open up my thinking. Seriously. So I had this sense of humility this week and humbleness this week to realize that I'm not always right. There's not just one way. And damn it, I just might be wrong. Like, bitch, you just might be wrong. And it was hard this week because I was looking back on my behaviors and thinking about the way that I used to speak to people and things that I would say, and I wouldn't understand why they would get offended, or I would be like, well, they just can't take it, or I don't want to work with somebody who's not like me. Why the fuck would you want to work with, why would the fuck would I want a whole team of people who work just like me? Because now literally our whole team would just be based off of like narrow-minded thinking and only one way to go. And you need a team of people who have different approaches. You need a team of people who think differently than you, or who are better than you at certain things, or who, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's important in order to make a car run. Like, a car doesn't work with just one part doing one thing. Well, you know what I mean? A car isn't just one part. Okay, it's not just the engine. My nigga, it's wheels. And those wheels have one job. The motherfuckers turn. And then it's an engine. And that engine has one job. I don't know what the fuck it is. And then it has a gas tank. And then it has a transmitter. And then it has, a fucking radio. A car has many different parts that make it go. It's not just one part in a car that makes it go. So, bitch, if you want to drive and get to where you have to go, I need to be surrounded with different fucking parts. And I can't believe that it's just my part that's making this bitch go. Like, no, that's not it. Calm the fuck down. So that was my thing. So I made a list of negative patterns that I want to clear. I made a list of habits and patterns and changes that I want to make. And it's going to take some unraveling. It's going to take time. It's going to take practice. But I really took it upon myself to want to apply that in my life and change my behaviors, because how I was rocking in high school may have worked for me, but bitch, we're not in high school anymore. It's time to change it up. It's time to grow the fuck up. It's time to mature. I'm not finna be walking around here still being the same way, still thinking the same way, still being narrow-minded. I'm not doing that. I want to elevate. So things have to change. So it was hard, bro. It was hard to get to that point. And it takes trust. And like, I have to work on trusting people. I really do. I like to micromanage. I want to be a part of everything. I want to like be in control of everything to make sure that, like, stop. I have to let go. For real. Yeah, so that was good. Week 6, though, I don't know what week 6 is gonna be about. All I know is that when I was looking in here, I noticed that whoever had this book before me, she ripped the assignment pages out. So I don't have any of the tasks. Like, the assignment pages are ripped out right there. So I don't have the tasks for this week. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. But week 6 says recovering a sense of abundance. This week you will tackle a major creative block money. You are asked to really look at your own ideas around God, money, and creative abundance. The essays will explore the ways in which your attitudes limit abundance and luxury in your current life. You will be introduced to counting, a block-busted tool for clarity and right use of funds. This week may feel volatile. Yeah. And a lot of assignments that we did in week 5 were like wish lists and what do you want? And, you know, like, I don't know, like we've been doing that pretty much every week. We talk about like things that we want, things we want to try, things we want to buy and stuff. And I realized that stuff that I said that I wanted in week 2, I actually ended up getting in week 5, which is crazy. Because like in week 2 or week 1 or week 2, I was talking about how like I wanted to paint. And then like last week, I think it was, I bought stuff to paint. And then like this, I think like week 3 or week 4, I was like, I want my own place in New York. And I got it. Like, okay. I don't want to go crazy or anything. But, I mean, God blessed me this week. And I might be getting my actual own place in New York, which is cool. So I'm excited about week 6. I just want to make sure that I carry everything from week 5, really digest it, really understand it like the back of my fucking hand, come up with some new habits, establish new goals and new ways that I want to work and new approaches. And I want to clear out all this old shit and move on to something else with a spirit of humility and humbleness and be open to learn. I want to be learnable. No, I want to be teachable. I want to have a teachable spirit about myself. And I feel like I was so wrapped up in my own self and my own methods and I got the I wasn't able to truly just learn things. And I want to be teachable and learn things and be a better team player and a more effective leader. Those are my goals moving into 2020. Okay. This was a long one, but I'm going to go ahead and write in my morning pages. The morning pages were full too. They was full this week. They were really full. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my morning pages and just get into it, and we will talk again in week 6. But Jayla, I am proud of myself. I am. All right.